Every sales professional is going to get an objection somewhere in the sales process throughout their career. It's important that you know how to handle it. And on today's episode, I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can handle any sales objection that come at you. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. On this episode, we're going to be talking about objections. And if you don't know what an objection is, then you're probably not in sales. And maybe this video isn't for you. But if you are in sales, you know what an objection is. It's something that prevents the prospect from moving forward to making a purchase or to investing or to exploring opportunities to work with you and your organization. I'm going to give you 2 ideas of how you can break through those objections and what I found to be helpful for me. Now, some of you probably have your own methods or something that you've learned from a sales manager or someone else in the past. And I get that. That's great. I'm not telling you to change that. Use what works for you. I'm going to give you ideas that's helped me. If this is your first time listening to our podcast or watching one of our videos, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll make sure to notify you every time we drop a new piece of content. We want to ensure that you're not only getting insights that can help you build pipeline, but also help you to accelerate deals through that pipeline. This episode falls into the avenue of helping you to accelerate deals. But let's go back and bring up what objection is again. The way I view an objection is not necessarily a no. An objection is a reason that the prospect has that is preventing them from moving forward down the sales process. Or again, this could be very early on. An objection you can get when you're cold calling someone that they're not interested or whatnot. Here's what I find, and I'm going to do it in 2 different categories per se. The first category is the prospecting side. The prospect has no clue who I am. They have no clue about my business, but I cold call them or I reach out to them and they express that they're not interested. Now, doesn't mean the person is really not interested at that point. There's a chance that it could be they're just not interested in it. The second option, though, however, is that I don't see enough information. I am not convinced enough. I don't recognize the value in what you're saying. I don't see a reason for me to talk to you, and you're interrupting me. So therefore, objection. Send me more information. Not interested. Don't take me off your list or whatever that might be. So let's go into this. The prospect, they quickly said, not interested right off the bat, and you're cold calling reaching out to that prospect. What I find is there's a reason why that he or she is saying this, and I want to get to that. Most salespeople, when they get something like that from a prospect, their instinct is that they need to give out as much information as possible, or they start to panic, so to speak, and start grappling for whatever they can get a hold of. And one of the things that they usually try to grapple and get a hold of is in a cold calling scenario, they get angry because they get frustrated that the person didn't give them the time of the day. Number 2, they usually try to give out a bunch of discount or free stuff at that point. It might say, hey, we're offering a discount or a free thing at this point, so I wanted to tell you a little bit more about it. They're hoping that those will help the prospect. But what I find is that you need to just stand your ground, be a little bit more confident, and get to the real reason. There's a root reason why the prospect is saying they're not interested. Number 2, the other thing that I find that happens is general in the other side of the sales process is that the deal has been progressing. Maybe they got interest after we did that first cold call. They had a discovery call with us. And then now maybe we're doing another meeting, or in that discovery call, there's an objection that comes up. They've given us the time of the day. They're curious, but something is holding them back. That again, most salespeople, as soon as they get the objection, they want to fix it. So they jump in and they try to explain how their solution is great. They go feature benefit, or they go discount mode at that point. So there's the same thing will happen when they're prospecting early on. So you can find yourself in that phase. What I tell my clients and tell sellers, and what I tell my team, and what I have done for years, is literally just calm down. Like you can evenly don't make the sound over the phone because that'll sound ridiculous, but maybe just take a deep breath and then just answer the question. Go in like this. This is what I would share. There are 2 different phrases that I like to use. I will tell the person right off the bat, and sometimes people will say thank you or whatnot. It's or there's a parroting methodology where they repeat the objection that the prospect stated or whatnot. So what I hear you saying, Donald, is blankety blank blank. That again, that's not a bad thing. You can do whatever you feel, but I personally just like to tell them, Donald, I appreciate you sharing that with me, or I appreciate you bringing that up with me right now. Now I'm in control of the conversation. In my case, here's what I usually ask them. One, Donald, permission to ask a question. Or I might say something like, out of curiosity. Or I might say something like, David, it sounds like there's a story behind that. Or I might say something to the nature of, I feel there's a reason. I feel like there's a deeper reason why you're asking that question. What's that all about? Tell me a little bit more about that. And they usually at that point will divulge what the issue is. Because let's go back to it. If you're in a conversation with a prospect and you've done an initial call and now you're in the disco and they bring up, Donald, I'm not sure if this is a fit for us. I don't know what is not a fit yet. So it doesn't make sense for me to go and start a pitch about my features or my benefit or try to give a discount. Not even asking what exactly is not. You can even ask what is not a fit, but I want to get to the real reason behind that. Might say, interesting. Tell me, go a little bit deeper. I feel like there's something more beyond that. I just don't feel it's a fit, Donald. We've used a different vendor for years, and they do blankety blank. Well, now I'm getting to the real reason. Don't take that as the real reason yet. Go deeper. Talk to me more about that. Like, what exactly did they do? And now you try to get them to divulge a little more. Maybe it turns out that the CEO has relationship with that other company. They went to college together. So it's kind of hard to break from that. No matter how much discount that I'm giving, I will be fighting against the wrong objection. The goal is to get to the real objection. And when you usually ask these questions, you can get that understanding. There's a method that I've used over the years called the 5 whys, which some of you have heard of and you heard me talk about on other podcasts, where you ask why type questions to get to that real reason. Usually after 3 to 5 questions, you usually get down to the real root of the problem. So in this case, let's go deeper, find out that they work with another company. Tell me a little bit more about that. Our CEO started working with them several years ago. Tell me a little bit more about that. It sounds like your CEO won't leave. Yeah, that's the real reason. He's probably not going to leave that because they're college buddies. So again, all of that information is giving me intel on what the real issue is. It's not that it's not a fit. It's the fact that their CEO has a connection and they're college bros, and we're probably not going to change that. However, how we overcome that objection or work through that objections, there are different ways we can do it. But that's the process at the very beginning. One, tell them how you appreciate the fact that they brought something up to you. I appreciate you sharing that with me right now. 2, then you go into the deeper understanding. It sounds like, tell me a little bit more, out of curiosity, permission to ask a question. And at that point, whatever they tell you, do not take it as don't take the bait. Go deeper. Say, interesting. Tell me more. That's your 3rd step. Tell me more. Go deeper on that. And again, you're trying to dig to get to the real reason. And then whatever they say at that point, then you start to figure out solutions and how you can solve that problem for them. So let's go back to the case where this may be a deal where the CEO has friendship with the other person at the other company. I might find out, why in the world, what prompted you to look at our solution in the first place? Well, it's because of this and because of that. Do you feel that this could potentially help? Well, it could. Okay, great. So what if we don't change what you're currently doing with your current vendor? What if we did a trial or a beta test? Or what if we were able to do X, Y, Z instead? Now at this level, it's not replacing their existing vendor. Perhaps I can do a trial with them and that could work, depending on your solution. Some solution is just impossible to get a trial in place, but some of it may be able to do a trial. Maybe there's a test. Maybe instead of the 14-day trial, can we do something for a month or whatnot, if it's just well calculated and well followed up on and there is a clear process. If that's the case, then yeah, we could try and test it, because the goal is I always tell them I'm not in the business of breaking up a good marriage. And I know that everyone is, people change, their companies grow and needs evolve. And if there's an opportunity for us to be of assistance and to be more effective, wouldn't it be important to at least explore that so you can know? And yeah, they're probably going to do so. Then you go into the next step of that. Well, let's go a plan. And now you put a plan in place. Let's set up a time, or let's do the implementation. I'll send over the agreement for the trial, whatever it is. Let's get the CEO in the meeting, or whoever it is at that point. But the goal here is I found out what the real issue is and I came up with a solution. What I like to do with my clients is to help them creatively think about solutions to different objections that they might get. Oftentimes, we may feel that this is set that we're going to give a discount. But it's not just a discount that the buyer want. Clearly, it wasn't a discount issue here. It wasn't a feature and benefit issues here. The issue was the CEO has strong connection. How can I make sure that I still help out without necessarily sabotaging what they have in place? Because once they see results, maybe they'll say, all right, great, we can keep them in this part or use them in this part of the organization and use the other company in the other. And maybe over time, we can sell more licenses and we can overtake the incumbent. The second thing I want to go back to is the first type of objection. This is one when you might get over the phone when you're calling someone. Then I say, "Yeah, Donald, I'm not interested." Might say, "Hey, I appreciate you telling me that. Out of curiosity, is it that you're not interested in blank, or is it you're not interested in or is it a bad timing?" The reason by doing this is that it helps the prospect to then be able to, give me the real answer. I say, Donald, I'm going into a meeting right now. If you could send the information, then I could then we can get back together. Say, okay, great. I can send something over. What if I got connected with you on the same time tomorrow? And I'll send over a calendar invite to that person at the same time. If they accept it, then we know that they're interested. If not, then we know that they were just trying to push us off or whatnot. But the goal here is I'm not leaving without getting something, but also is the fact I'm trying to get to the real reason. If the prospect had given me a little bit more time, I might say, Donald, before I go, permission to ask a question. Usually when someone tells me, early on that they're not interested. It's because one, they are busy and going into another meeting or have something else and I'm interrupting their day. Two, they're just really not interested and already have a vendor they're happy with. Or three, they're open to exploring, but it's just not the right time. Is it any of those by chance? Okay, it's just not the right timing. And when would be the right timing for us to come back and connect? The point there with this one is that I gave them options. If you give the prospect some options, usually they don't want to hurt your feelings or to tell you straight up. But giving them some options usually help to make them to allow them to be able to make a decision. So again, the option there was one is not the right timing. I interrupted, and I could be legitimate. And you want to give them real options that they can choose from, not from some silly stuff like one, they already they're making millions of dollars or whatever. Give them real options they can choose from. One, it's interrupted today. Two, maybe just really not interested and already have a vendor they love. Or three, it's a bad timing. They not looking to make a change right now, but something they're willing to explore. Donald, I'm just we open to exploring, but we're doing this in 6 months from now, not now. Great, set up a meeting for the time. But again, the concept behind all of these objections is not to take the first objection as the real issue. Be willing to dig deeper, be willing to go and get further information, and take a breath. Usually I find that salespeople are just so worried and so anxious, or just really want to get that deal, that they rush. But slow the process down. Take a breath. I appreciate you bringing that up to me, man. Out of curiosity, is it okay if I ask you a question before I go? When people usually share this, it's usually one of the three reasons, really. It could be more, but I find that it's blank, is a blank, blank. Is it any of those by chance? Yeah, we're with a vendor right now. We're not looking to change. Awesome. Hey, I'm not in the business of breaking up good marriages. And if all of my clients went with a new sales rep, whenever they called them, I probably would be out of a business too. But I know I'm not the best vendor, the best company in the entire world, and no one is perfect. Everyone has their flaws. If there's one thing your current company could do better, what would be that one thing? Now, some people will get it and say, Donald, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not necessarily interested. Or they might say, they're good company, but, they just don't, they never deliver on time. And that's a concern. Don't take that as the debate. Just go back and say, is there anything else? Well, no, and also blankety blank. Is that it? Those are the things. Those are probably the top two things. All right. It sounds like there's more to it. Well, it's just they're unprofessional sometimes. Well, now they gave me all this ammo of the reasons why. So I might use use my personality at that point and say, so why in the world are you still with them? Well, it turns out it's, they gave us a really good deal back in the days, and it's hard to break away from that. What's that deal? So now I'm getting to the real reason. We can have a conversation and I can know how to attack it. No matter what you do, objections are not difficult. All you have to do is get to the real reason why they're giving you objection. You have your own way of doing that. That's my process of doing it. So whether it's on a prospecting or with a deal that already established in the pipeline, first thing I want to do is I want to let them know I appreciate you sharing that with me right now. All right, thank you for that. I appreciate you bringing that up. It means a lot. Sometimes people don't even tell me what that, tell me that is, and we go on and they ghost me. But thank you. The next thing is out of curiosity or permission to ask a question. Usually when, like, you want to ask that question to get to the deeper issue, probing. You get to that, don't take the bait yet. Say, is there anything else? Whatever they say, wow, my goodness. Is there anything else on top of that? No, that's it. Sounds like there's a story behind that. Well, this is what happened, blankety blank, blankety blank. Now, when I get the real reason, I can clarify it. So if you're telling me, if there's a way that you can do blankety blank, or we could help you with blankety blank, there could be a possibility of us working together with that, or be a vendor for this project. Yeah, it could be. But I take it from there, and then I help to identify a solution. We counsel together on what a good solution could look like, or what are some good options are, and then I set a next step. That's it. Not too difficult, right? If you want to get the details of this, we outlined it down below in the show notes. And if you're interested in participating in our mastermind, where we get a chance to practice objection and to improve your sales game, go to thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. If you know somebody that can benefit from this podcast, share this episode with them. Most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking. I want you to go out and do big things. See you on the next one.